Yeah. So Swiss Chalet and Harveys and other big chains were hit by a malware outbreak. So for our American users, Swiss Chalet is a delicious place that we don't have here that serves quarter chicken meals for like under $10.
Yeah, it's like Kenny Rogers Roasteries. If those are still around, I don't know if they are, but it's delicious. I love Swiss Chalet.
And they have great gravy, and people will try anything to get their gravy to taste like it. But I was shocked that there's no Swiss Chalet here in the States. But what happened to those chains? I mean, we have Harveys here.
Oh, you do? Okay.
We call it Carl's Jr., I think. It's the same company.
Same company.
Yeah.
Actually, Carl's Jr. was part of this list. So it is actually a bigger company, an umbrella corporation that owns all of these restaurants, and it's called Recipes Unlimited. And we don't know how the malware affected their system, but we do know that it happened Friday sometime. And so Saturday, or maybe even Friday night, people tried to get into their favorite Swiss Chalet or Harveys, and most of them were closed. And what I saw on the news, there was like big signs that were pressed up against the doors saying, "We're closed, our head office got hacked." But this has affected over 1,400 locations throughout Canada. That is huge. That is a lot of restaurants and a lot of towns that just can't feed those hungry people who want to eat their chicken.
Well, malware is really scary lately. I've noticed here more so they're attacking hospitals with electronic medical records. Now, if you've ever talked to a doctor before, they're really leery about talking about private patient information. It's all protected under something called HIPAA, which is an agreement that keeps people's information safe. And so if you could picture a doctor keeping it secret, imagine how terrible it would be if millions of patients' data, their blood sugar, their cholesterol levels, whether or not they're HIV positive, things like that, if that gets out, that is really a big compromise.
Yeah, that's really quite scary. I was actually listening to a podcast the other day, and I probably should have researched the exact name and which one it was so that our listeners could go listen to it. But it was an expert that was being interviewed on hacking. And he basically said that we're seeing more and more hacks. We're seeing state-sponsored hacks. That's a big part of espionage these days. We're seeing a lot of just grassroots hacking, like the kid in the basement that's 12 years old that's trying to get in trouble. And, hacking has really gone from its innocent roots. And it's quite interesting. The roots of hacking is quite innocent. It was kind of like, look what I can do, and I can make your computer laugh at you, to something that can now cost billions of dollars. Now, this one with the restaurants, I don't think is going to be worth billions of dollars, but what if a government goes down? We know people have tried to hack the FBI and the United States government servers and have been successful, and we know that some of the state-sponsored hacks, at least the ones that hit Canada, actually shut down the government of Canada's websites for a while. So this expert basically said, look, this is just the beginning. It's going to get worse. And he foresaw hacks that will shut down the entire internet. Now, that just blows my mind because the internet is this vast nebulous concept of interconnected hardware, software. Like, how can you shut that whole thing down? But he was saying we are going to see times in the future when the whole internet will go down. And then what do we do?
I even read an article today that our information for Facebook is being sold in the dark web for $3 a person. Oh. So that's username and password for Facebook profiles that are active. And, that's very lucrative for some people because if you are able to get a hold of people, you can contact their friends, pretend to be them. Maybe you could pretend to be a prince of Nigeria and get all the money. So there's...
I'm a Nigerian prince, and I need some money to get some money.
I'm surprised it's only going for $3 a pop. But really be careful with your passwords, and this is just a good time to remind our listeners to change your password at least yearly. I do.
Yeah. I still get a few fake friend requests. I probably maybe one a year, but I got one the other day, and it said, and here's some of your friends that are friends of mine. And I looked at it and I was like, no, they're not. I think that could be how they're using that $3 a person is they're pretending to be a friend of a friend. And that's when you let them in and boom, they start grabbing information. They know where your kids go to school. I mean, it's scary stuff. So